housing. There was one project that is not underway that was more controversial. We have to be careful, obviously, where we locate that, but most of those have been well accepted by neighborhoods, and that creates a new supply. And you know, Suzanne, again, with a lot of negativity and attacking this stuff, not offering another alternative or solution, but basically saying we shouldn't be supporting that by relaxing the parking requirements or the development charges. We don't push hard with commercial, with office space. We don't get those big windfall profits to the city based on the city land value appreciating. So with rental housing, it's in very short supply. It's a crisis, in fact, for many people in Vancouver. We need to treat it in the same way as our commercial buildings, where we need the supply. It's critical for our economy. It's critical for our city to succeed. And we have to make sure that there are incentives that get it built when there aren't federal or provincial incentives that support it.
But the sad fact is that neither one of you has a solution to Maria for her 46-year-old handicapped brother.
Okay, sir, you haven't got to me yet. Bill, yes, we do need to keep a supply of good supported housing coming along. I'm not sure if it's supported housing Maria's brother needs or if it's rent supplements, but certainly BC Housing can help with that, and I hope Maria might leave her name with your producer, and I would be glad to look into it for her. Absolutely, we need housing supply. I'm just fascinated by the revisionist history going on with Gregor, but I can't go back to every single thing that he said, but certainly to deny the NPA record on bringing those 40 buildings to
those are provincial
ready
buildings,
for
Suzanne.
Development by relationships with the provincial government. That was NPA work. I am very committed to keeping those relationships going and finding more, because, Bill, there has been no increase. We had those 40 buildings 3 years ago. There's nothing new in the last 3 years. I'm determined to change that.
Owen.
Yes, Bill. The Canadian Federation of Independent Business wrote a report in which they stated from 2000 to 2008 the population and inflation in Vancouver grew by 29, or in BC grew by 29%. But the operating expenses, not new capital, but just operating expenses, grew by 58%. So I want to ask your two guests if they will pledge on your show here today that they will operate within the growth, the population growth, and the rate of inflation, and not have these horrendous spikes of operating expenses.
Mr. Robertson.
Well, we haven't had a horrendous spike over these past 3 years. We saw a 20% increase to property tax under the NPA in their last term of office, and the last 2 years we've kept property tax increases under 2%, and the lowest in the region this year. So we've really honed it down and focused on cutting expenses at City Hall and focusing on priorities and running City Hall like you'd run a business, and really being careful with taxpayer dollars. And you know, I know Suzanne will make a promise and a pledge to do that, but she's out making other promises that will contradict that in terms of expenses, and they have no record of keeping taxes under control. And now we have several years under the toughest circumstances during a recession, really difficult circumstances to manage a city budget under with staff compensation increasing dramatically every year. We've had to really cut back. We've shown we have the guts to do that. We have the capacity and the experience to do that and manage taxpayers' money well, and versus making pledges to do things that you've never delivered on in the past.
I find it very hard to rely on anything Gregor Robertson says when he comes out with such an utter falsehood. The tax increase in the last council was 9%. He's pulled this 20% number out twice now. It is not true. It was 9%. What we did in the NPA Council, and by the way, and the answer is yes, I've already signed that taxpayer's pledge. I have agreed to keep taxes to no more than inflation. I have agreed to cap spending. And by the way, I got all of council to support a municipal auditor general. The other piece we have committed to do in the NPA is continuing with the gradual tax shift off commercial properties, because when we started in the NPA 6 years ago, the commercial property taxes were 6 times the rate of residential. That was inequitable. We need to bring it back more to somewhere between 3 and 4 times, which is a more equitable number. we have committed in the NPA platform to continuing that gradual shift to take
that now, about 4.5?
Yeah, to take that burden off the commercial properties. I don't know what Gregor's position on that is, because I've heard both from him during this campaign, but that's the NPA position.
Well, our position is to do the final year of that tax shift. It was a 5-year recommendation from the Property Tax Commission, the Fair Tax Commission, And we have followed through 3 years in a row in doing that shift to make our businesses more competitive. That's meant an increase to residential tax. The 20% increase was to residential taxpayers under the NPA last term, and that has been well documented. We're looking at one more year of this tax shift, and then, as the Commission recommended, a waiting period after that to assess the impact of it and to look at what other tools we can put in place for small business in particular.
Well, I'm glad he's added that qualification, because the prior 2 times he said it, it was a complete and utter falsehood.
Jesse, good morning.
Good morning, Bill. Good morning, Suzanne, Gregor.
Good morning.
I'll cut to the chase. Development around the Cambie Corridor, Main and Fraser Street, have caused great pressures on the amenities in the area, specifically the Riley Park Hillcrest Center. There is a group, the Riley Park South Vision Cambie's group, which has massive support from the local community to save the old Riley Park Community Center to complement the new one. In some of the ideas put forward for a senior center, expanded daycare, preschool, and the current Parks Board is looking to demolish the building and create a parking lot with some green space. My question to both candidates is, what are you looking to do? Would you continue with the demolition, or would you stop and take a sober second look and reconsider repurposing the building to meet the needs of the community?
Who wants to start?
I'll start. I think the new Park Board could take a fresh look at it. It is within the authority of the Park Board to make this decision, and I would leave it to them. I do believe in the independence of the Park Board. That's been whittled away in the last 3 years, but the NPA is very strongly committed to the independence of the Park Board. On the question of amenities, I came into politics through community soccer, through getting kids to play soccer, getting better playing facilities. I remain strongly committed to have very good community facilities all around the city, good fields, good soccer facilities, and also good cultural facilities. One of the problems in putting these huge subsidies into rental and committing all your public benefits, so-called public benefits that way, is you deprive yourself, you deprive the community of the community facilities that it needs. And I think the point that this caller is making is that it is so important to have facilities for people. If we have more people living in condos, townhouses, those kids need to be able to get into good sports facilities. They need to be able to get into swimming lessons.
Mr. Robertson.
Yeah, I think it is up to the Park Board to obviously find a solution here, and it would be compelling if there's a good business case to keep that center open. I know there's been people working on it in the community and would look forward to seeing something take shape there. We have had unprecedented investment in our parks and our community centers over these past 3 years, a great partnership with the federal government to deliver on new turf fields, the new rinks, the biggest capital investment in our parks in Vancouver's history in 3 years. So we've really focused on that, and we've seen a massive shift in investment in our parks and a lot of new facilities. And we need to continue that. We need to focus on that over these coming years.
We have come to time for closing comments, and we will begin with Gregor Robertson.
Thanks, Bill, and thanks to you and all your listeners for this opportunity. You know, it's really important that Vancouver, over these next 3 years, have the kind of steady, consistent business experience leadership that we've had from the Vision team at Council over these last 3 years. And I've been very proud of the work my team has done. We were elected on a platform with very clear priorities. We have focused on implementing those priorities. Those were developed to make a difference on the ground for the people of Vancouver. This is a huge contrast to what we see from Suzanne here. Not steady, not consistent, flip-flopping on many issues. I don't think any of us know where she stands on a mega casino, on future of bike lanes and bike travel around the city, on the future of many of the key priorities for Vancouver right now. It's very inconsistent, and that's unfortunate. We don't need that as a city. I think we're in good shape right now. We need to keep going with a strong Vision team and clear direction forward. I would ask voters for their support for the Vision team on November the 19th, most of all to vote on November the 19th, but to reflect on the difference that a good, strong council, Park Board and School Board have made over these last 3 years on key priorities for Vancouver.
Final words from Suzanne Anton.
Thank you very much, Bill. What I will be offering is accountable leadership. As I said, leadership where the buck stops with me. I will be offering collaborative leadership. I have, throughout my career, put partnerships together. I will continue that to build social housing, build the streetcar, build the other things that we need in the city of Vancouver. And I will be the mayor for 100% of Vancouver, for 100% of the people in Vancouver, and 100% of the economy in Vancouver. This last team is mayor for 3%, which is the green economy. I will be mayor for 100%. It is always, for the NPA, taxpayers first, a common sense agenda, keep the city services that people need, and always remember that whose money we're spending. It's not city money, it's taxpayers' money. Thirdly, the NPA dreaming big. It's not the no. We've heard a lot of no's. No, you can't do the streetcar. You couldn't do the Canada line. You couldn't do the stadium. You couldn't do the Olympics. I don't think Gregor even voted for the Olympics, by the way. The NPA is the party of yes. Yes, we can. We can build the Canada line. We can do the stadium. We can do the Olympics. We can do the streetcar. We can have great facilities in the city of Vancouver. We have a plan, npavancouver.ca. I hope people will have a chance to have a look at it, and I think people will like what they see. Suzanne Anton, running for mayor, November 19th. Thank you very much.
My thanks to Gregor Robertson and Suzanne Anton, and to you for your calls. We break for the news next. Then we have our Monday morning quarterbacks here with Bill Good on CKNW News Talk 980.